Oh my goodness!
Oh, it's checkmate.
What an idea.
Put that
It's
on the board.
supplemented by the double exclamation.
We're all giddy as school children when we hear Magnus Carlsen's playing Hikaru Nakamura, and this game did not disappoint. But first, let's show you something interesting here, because the opening move, e4 by Magnus Carlsen, was not selected by him, nor was c5 from Hikaru Nakamura. Let me show you a few moves, then I'll show you what I mean, and I'll talk about the match situation. So it's a Sicilian on the board. We get this Richter-Rauser variation with bishop g5, mainline stuff. Now the pawn comes to e6. This is one of the hardest words to say in chess, the shaven Indian pawn structure. Just say shaving engine, you'll be close enough. We get queen d2, aggressive intentions, the king castles queenside, knight takes, queen takes here, and after bishop e7, f4, now b5 is launched. We see why the knight had to take here first. We get takes. Why would you give up your bishops? Well, you shatter the pawns. This one can't capture, or d6 collapses. e5 now played. Nice space gain. Black shuts things down. This bishop crying its heart out now at the pawn structure, and after king b1, always play it, we get bishop d7, a more natural square than b7 where you're biting on granite for eternity, and queen e3 now clears the d4 square. f5 played, and this is the starting position. The players get to choose which position they start from, or sometimes it's chosen for them, because this is a variation of chess. They're playing in Morocco. It's called the Casablanca Chess Variation tournament or something like that, and Magnus Carlsen just needs to draw this game here to win the whole event. Must win for Hikaru. Please excuse my voice, I've had a cold this week. So what does Magnus do? He's the first one to play here. How is he going to try and attack Hikaru here? Doesn't just want to sit there. He plays the absolute best move, pawn to g4. Gary the g-pawn, launch down the board. If you know a Gary, give him a hug. They're a dying breed here in the UK. What does Hikaru do? He captures the pawn, makes a gobble sound as he does so. The top professionals do that. Magnus offers a second one. He so enjoyed it. Hikaru goes gobble gobble. Both players have a good laugh. Why is Magnus jettisoning pawns? Well, this is his point. He does win that one back, and there's huge pressure on h7, but you have to attack it in the right way. Hikaru plays the best move, carry on the natural development, and now what do you do here as white? Well, what you shouldn't do is play the most natural move in the world, bishop d3, because yes, this is attacked, but h5 played, the rooks double, h4 supported by the bishop, suddenly your pieces are stuck. Black can turn their attention to attacking this king. So what does Magnus do? He visualizes the board. Where does he want his lady? He goes queen to g1, headed for the tender g7 square. And if you go bishop f8 to stop the invasion, well, it's not precise. The knight's spinning round, and at some point you want to give up bishop for knight. So Hikaru goes b4, looking for counterplay, but Magnus moves in with the queen, an in-between move, leans forward, whispers to Hikaru, swish and zig, because that's what the top professionals do when they chuck in an in-between move, a Zwischenzug. Now we see knight e2, headed for d4, and the best engine move here is castles queenside. But Hikaru goes immediately rook c8, trying to explode the black king position, white king position rather, but Magnus now picks up on h7. Sorry, knight d4 first. Now bishop c5, preparing to eliminate the knight, and now he takes on h7. Multi-purpose, winning back the pawn, preparing to crash through on c2. So Hikaru takes the knight off. He gives up his bishops, but that knight was an absolute beast in the centre. Rook recaptures, queen c5, hits that loose rook, but Magnus spots it, retreats it. He's world number 1 for a reason. And now the pawn on a6 is under fire from the sniper from afar. This is the thing about bishops. They can influence the game even from their starting squares. But does Hikaru advance the pawn, which is the best move of the Silicon Overlord? No. He goes queen to f2, hitting 2 points, but Magnus is like, fine. I call your bluff, Hikaru. I will take thy pawn, attack thy rook. What will ye do? So Hikaru goes here, hitting the bishop, expecting Magnus to move it, but he does not do so. This is where we get commentator freak out, because what does Magnus do? Test your attacking skills. He puts the queen back on this fated g7 square, his favourite square this game.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, it's checkmate.
What an idea.
It's
supplemented by the double exclamation.
And it's a really nice idea. If Hikaru takes the rook, which he doesn't do, we've just gone to the back cave, then you go rook h8. This is the follow-up move. Now you're threatening to take, checkmate of course. So captures is natural. Queen takes, and here's the point. You start checking that black king, and you haven't even just got perpetual, which is all Magnus needs. You know, you can do that. You can even go rook h1, and this threat is actually absolutely deadly. Even though the bishop can make some room, the king still starts getting hunted. b3 technically a best starting move, but very soon the rook invades, and this is just absolute collapse. Won't keep going with the line. So we come back here. What does Hikaru do? He goes bishop c6 immediately. Best move. Magnus could retreat with bishop f1. Best move to play, but he does something different. Watch the bar react. He goes rook h8. It poops its pants, brings it back to level. Why? Because now, after takes, queen takes with check, you've lost your winning attack. But the king moves away, queen f6, and yes, you've dropped an entire piece, but the emperor has no clothes, right? You can start checking. For some reason, Hikaru doesn't play king d8. He plays king c8, allowing Magnus to take with check. Still, Magnus would have taken here, whereupon king d8, but then there was more work to do to start perpetual. As it is, Hikaru's now getting checked from everywhere, and if you block with the bishop here, well then this pawn drops. White has 4 pawns for the piece. It's way too much. The king's so exposed. This is draw territory. So this was played. We get more checks, and what to do? Hikaru wants to play on, but he just can't do anything. His pawns are all dropping. He has to accept a draw, and Magnus Carlsen goes on to win the event, as he so often does, blow away the cobwebs of losing to Alireza a few days ago. And in case you missed that one, have a look at the video on screen. It was just nuts. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you soon.